right, I did that chorus. So we got Mr. Tonito to give us a little presentation here. This is your last presentation of the night. So come on back in the lobby, grab your friends from the restroom, let's learn some G, baby. Everyone give them a round of applause. All the incredible speakers that we've had here tonight. All the incredible information.
Thanks, bro. You got it. Oh. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here and sticking around and talking with us and asking questions. And asking the hard questions. Thank you. Well, so you all heard a little bit about how I don't like tap water. I didn't get to tell you that I prefer my tap water to be flavored with like Diet Coke, things that are really nasty. Let me just grab some of these, one sec. No, I'm not vegan. I wish I was fruitarian again. And then I got this green water that I thought was like algae water for a split second. All right, let's start here. All right, so I appreciate all your questions, and with the format that we have here, I will take Q&A. So please, once again, write down your questions, and I'm gonna move this over. But if you could write down your questions, and I'm happy to answer them at other times. Because I think you're all gonna have a lot of questions on this. Okay. All right, well, once again, my name is Robert Tonito, and I'm happy to be here and talk about these things. Getting a little hot. I wore something for you all. Ugh, I knew I should have, oh, thank you. I knew I should have worn my Genius shirt, so, there we go. This thing is hot. I've had it on all day. Thank you. He's probably like, no, don't sing about it, don't do that. Yeah, this is the Floridian body. So here, tap and hold to use the laser pointer. Hold on a second, let me see what that's about. No way. Okay, I didn't know I could do a laser pointer on here. All right, Genius Whales is a company that is set to solve like a lot of this complexity. I mean, who here actually uses Genius AI? Like actually makes commitments? Use it? Really, that many hands? Nobody? None of you, not a single one of you uses Genius AI? Okay. Yeah, I can't see your hands unless they're lifted up. Okay. Now, how many people have blatantly just like lost crypto? Like lost Bitcoin, lost Genius, or had it like stolen? Yeah, it's frustrating, and it is a very complicated UI. And so in January, I became the CEO of a company called Genius Whales. It's all about full automatic revenue with AI and Web3. Web3 is the new internet. So here we've been talking about blockchain. It's a bit confusing everything. Even when the internet was around, people were like, what's the internet? You ever see those old videos of people asking what the internet is? It's kind of cute. It's very sweet, but people didn't know what it was. And I think it's better to call these things a new internet, because this is what they really are. And Genius Whales, while it's an early opportunity for like an AI Bitcoin strategy, the UI of crypto in general, and the UI, the user interface, the apps for these things, they're overly complicated. And I think even the most technical people here would agree with me, right? And that's a big problem. But so this company, it's kind of like, we know you, we know each other, we know how it is. this world of cryptocurrency, the situation is that people were making a lot of money with crypto, and we couldn't way beyond their means. And you're just like, nice car, man, cool. You're not selling drugs, are you? He's like, oh no, I'm doing Bitcoin and stuff still. Oh, you're doing that magical internet money thing. Oh good, I thought you were doing drugs. And, because you know, people were making a lot of money with crypto. And people watched that with myself. Some person came up to me and asked if I had a Chevy dealership because I had 2 Corvettes, and I just liked Corvettes. And well, yeah, people were making a lot of money, so much that nearly $4 trillion came up out of nowhere in the last 10 years. You see this chart? I mean, supposedly I can use a laser pointer. That's cool. See, I'm learning about technology too. Like, we can all learn about technology every day. But here, like 10 years ago, January 2014 and 15, you can't even see the value. I mean, the value here was like no more than $20 billion market cap for like all of cryptocurrency. And you had Dogecoin back then. Yeah, Litecoin, all this. It was barely a blip. You can't see that blip here. Guys, let me represent this screen. Here. Live broadcasting has stopped. Okay, stop sharing. I'm sorry. I think we were enjoying that, weren't we? I'm gonna rejoin this. Just leave the call. Rejoin the call. Share the screen. Start broadcast. Cool. All right. We'll figure out how to do that. Okay, can you all see this? Yeah? Cool. I trust you. Now, if a couple of you would have said no, I would have paid attention to who said yes the most before I verified. All right, so people are making a lot of money with crypto. And when you look at this very bottom area, I'll point to it. Right there. I'm afraid to use this laser pointer now, but yeah, so that's $4 trillion. Nearly $4 trillion is in crypto. And next to it is another little blip. That's cars and collections. So people with like fancy cars and such, that's a $6 trillion industry. And the next is art, 8 trillion, 16 trillion gold. What I'm getting at is that, what I'm really getting at is that, yeah, we're not making that money. We didn't make $4 trillion. Humanity did collectively, but a lot of people have sat by and have watched people make money and make money and make money in crypto, and they're just like, dude, I can't stand this anymore. It was just, but it's too complicating. So we haven't gotten this because it's too complicating. It's too time consuming. That's why the calendar picture. And it's too risky. Yeah, that looks scary. But what we have here is, $2.2 billion worth of crypto was stolen last year. And I almost had crypto stolen from me last year. A software developer that I knew really well on Telegram messaged me, and it was definitely him. I could see the history and everything like that. And he was telling me like, hey man, like, hey, how have you been? Right, we're talking, how have you been? And been good. And he's like, dude, look, can you talk to me? Like, because developers like to talk with each other. Like, it's called the talk to the duck thing. And he's like, I'm having a hard time figuring out what's going on with like, this Git repo. Basically, I'm having a hard time figuring out what's going on with this code that he was trying to like install and such. And, I don't have, I have crypto on my like main computer and stuff, but, I got my setup. And I realized that this wasn't my friend that had sent me this thing that I went to install to check his code for him. This was somebody using his Telegram. And whatever I ran was trying to access all sorts of stuff on my computer. It was like, hey, it wants to access your photos. I was like, no, okay, I see where this is going. Shit. So I was almost the statistics of that. For what I would have had on my computer, it would have still been an amount of money that you don't want to lose. But it's just too dang easy. So $2.2 billion worth of crypto was stolen in 2024, and that was due to things that are not within our control at all. Now, if you haven't watched on YouTube a series about elaborate scams, I did during a time to learn more about scams and preventing it. And I saw some scams that were so elaborate, I was like, there's no way anyone in the world who's not familiar with that would not have fallen for that. It's crazy. Here's a little pitch that's saying, hey, now you can not lose your cryptocurrency. But how much do you think of cryptocurrency has been stolen this year so far? You can say it louder. Anybody want to, let's, will you make a guess? 1 billion? More than that? Somebody said 5 billion? Shades, you're just always right, man. Almost the same amount. Last figure I heard a month or two ago was $1.5 billion has been stolen already. And I'm not surprised if it's the same amount has been stolen already. So we got to be vigilant, and that's where this comes in. Genius Whales is setting to make crypto easy. It's sort of like MicroStrategy. They had their Bitcoin strategy. They gave people an easier way to hold on to these assets so they don't become another statistic. So it's got to be simple. For the next 10 years of crypto are likely going to be difficult still. Until it's become as simple as possible. It's just a turnkey solution, it just works. And the whole risks, the whole problems, the whole scammers that are wow, I can take money and probably get away with it a lot easier, they're going to keep coming after us. So Genius Whales is the company with the solution here. Well, it's promising access to the crypto boom you've always dreamed of. I think that's funny. I like reading these words sometimes. So this is a company that is a lot like MicroStrategy. Genius Whales, MicroStrategy, they pioneered the Bitcoin strategy to hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Genius Whales is using Genius AI coin with AI revenue. And then you had Grayscale come in. Please, if you can raise your hand even higher, who owns a Bitcoin ETF? And this is a safe place to admit that. Did you raise your hand back there? Cool. Anybody else? No? Dang, okay. Grayscale was a company that said, hey, we have Bitcoin, you can own it too, and you know what, we're gonna help Bitcoin adoption. We're gonna put out an ETF, and I'm gonna show you how that went. But if you look at the market price, it looks like it went more than 4x in value. More about that in a second. Now you see, the market size though is, when you have an ETF and you give it to people who do stocks, do any of you do stocks here? I mean, I don't, I'll put my hand down. But, okay, so this company, Grayscale, and other companies, they've made it easier for you to own Bitcoin and not become one of those $2.2 billion of people that have lost their Bitcoin. All right, thank you all for your patience here. I think that's also a nice breaking point. I think, do any of you have any questions written down from what I was covering? Or I can just go back into the slides, but I think it's a good time to grab some questions. All right. Can you all hear me? You all there? Okay, awesome. All right, we're going to resume then. The ones who founded the company, the ones who founded the company and the people working with the company, we all believe in Genius tremendously. Oh, yay. Maybe my thing will be here. Let me share my screen again. We believe in Genius tremendously, and so we're going to be buying Genius like crazy. And we're buying Bitcoin as well to put into the collateral vaults for Genius, meaning when the AI liquidity is launched, Genius will also be backed by more Bitcoin, therefore a higher value of Bitcoin. And why are we doing this? Because we believe that this is, oh, cool, we got some, we believe that this is the right thing to do. So, yeah, excellent. So how do we make money? Us Genius people, right? How do we make money? Well, from the price asset, the appreciation of Genius token itself, also from the AI-driven protocol. I'm going to show you all in a little bit here, and let's all pray to the gods of the internet for a little bit about this. Please, we really want to know what's going on with these. I'm going to show you how the protocol does this, how Genius AI's protocol, in very simple pictures, it captures the upside of all of the asset appreciation that is inside of the AI liquidity vault. Lots of words, but let me say that again. When Genius AI liquidity is launched again, end of summer, there will be Bitcoin in the vault. You can burn your Genius tokens to get the Bitcoin. There will be US dollars, and there will be Ethereum, right? I mean, that's probably the three it'll be. Maybe it'll be four. And so the upside of any of those cryptos, you can burn your Genius token for that upside. So how the company makes money and how people will make money with Genius AI is one, the token price rising and the token price of Bitcoin or Ethereum rising. US dollar, we all know, is going to still be $1. Canadian dollar will be $1 too. And the other way is, well, we get yield. This is how much we're making. So all of you out there who have been into Genius AI for a while, you've had your miners running, you're probably making at least 22%. Or sorry, you're probably, yes, it's astronomically higher than what a bank will pay you, but this high APY is because of how Genius works. And this is why we're excited. We're very excited about the AI liquidity. So the company, whoa, look at these slides. These are amazing. I like these. Let's just do one of these. The company finished its pre-seed right here last year, meaning the company raised a good chunk of money to start its company itself and to bring on other like corporate people, officers, myself. I was brought into the company and duly formed this organization, right? And the company started its operations in late 2024. And the team, built the team, bring the team together, a team that is used to hyperinflation, like, sorry, not hyperinflation, hyper scaling and hyper growth. Like, I've run companies in the Bitcoin world that grew fast, very fast, because Bitcoin was growing very fast. The interest in Bitcoin and Bitcoin software was growing very fast. And so I had to learn how to scale quickly. I had to be good with systems and making new systems for people and many other people in the industry. So the Whales Company has raised over $1 million to date. The Whales Company, we're the ones who have published the Genius airdrop. So a campaign to seed the Genius launch price, where over $850,000 of value has gone into. We've acquired a lot of Bitcoin and as well 4% of all AI assets. And really the only AI asset out there is Genius. So we have a solid plan moving forward that we're very happy with. And this plan, it has to do with the Genius strategy. So you can be somebody who, you can self-custody your crypto. And I mean, who here self-custodies your crypto? Right? If I can just get some proud hands here, because this is very difficult to do. And I'm sorry, what's that, Dimitri? You lost in a boat accident? See, he's got the right answer. You guys don't self-custody. You lost it in a boat accident, all right? If you lose it in a boat accident, I guess the whole idea is you don't have to pay taxes on it. But a lot of us don't self-custody. And I used to tell people all the time to self-custody, but today, I don't, because I've seen so many people lose their crypto. in a boating accident. No, I've seen so many people lose their crypto. I've seen how easy it is. I almost lost, I don't know how much, but with a computer situation, I nearly lost a good chunk of crypto. Good thing I was paying attention and not just saying, yes, you can do, yes, allow. You know, I read that stuff. Something's asking you questions about allowing access. That's the time to like wake up from your slumber or wake up from your just like clicking forward just to do stuff. And I don't want that to happen to people, of course. So I see that it's going to take a while. And this is what the Genius Whales company is doing. It's going to help with custody. It's going to make things much simpler. Imagine if you had an app, well, lots of you are hearing about Genius's benefits, right? Do you want the benefits that Genius has? Yeah. People are like, when is it going to be launched? Me too. When is it going to be launched? But wouldn't that be great if it was just on a very simple mobile app? Like where you don't even realize you're using crypto, you're not dealing with 12-word phrases, it's secure, you're getting 22% APY, right? Or 7 or 8 or 9, depending on what you want to do. Well, that's the vision we see.
What's APY?
Oh, good question. APY is the yield on an annual basis. So basically, the money that you have parked, whether it's in a bank, whether it's in a retirement account, the yield is the revenue you've earned. The yield is the value you've been paid just to do that. So this company is raising another $8.5 million in giving 30% equity away. And with that equity, 60% of it, about 60%, we're buying Genius token with. You know, if we can't, we have to use the vault, if we have to use the AI liquidity, AKA if we have to back Genius's token in order to hopefully acquire more, we'll do that with Bitcoin. And then the other 40% are campaigns that we'll run to help awareness with Genius token. And huge round of applause for all of you for awareness with Genius token. Thank you very much. It's like people like yourselves that we really need to talk about this more. Like Bitcoin, it took 15 years for Bitcoin, well, 16 or 17 years for Bitcoin to get where it is today. And that's because people would take a moment to tell each other. So also, I heard about a lady named Heather, and I'm not sure if she's here today, but the company is looking for counsel, and we have 5% sweat equity to give up. 5% sweat equity today, what is 5% of $11 million? I mean, that's the company's valuation today, based on its capital per share, fully diluted. I don't know, I can't math right now. I must be tired. Oh, that's like $500,000, right? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, and Dimitri was finding out the exact number, just letting you know. So yeah, we have like $500,000 in equity to give to counsel because the company seeks to grow. So here, I just want to say, if you're interested in that, please let me know after here you're interested in it. Come up to me, talk with me. There's an email, ir@geniuswhales.com, that you can message and say, hey, I'm interested in that. You can scan this QR code, take a picture of it, and use it later to reach out. We want to talk with you. I mean, it doesn't have to be about, it doesn't have to be about Genius, but we're looking for directors. We're looking for Solidity developers. Thank you. All right, now any questions about this? Because I want to show you what the Genius strategy is about. And I think you're all going to find it really interesting because you can all do this Genius strategy too. Any questions about the Genius Whales company? Yes. Oh. I really like your manners in that. You're like, oh, hi, that QR code, please. Give me the QR code. There you go. I told you all that I don't drink tap water. But any soda you drink, I'm pretty sure it's tap water. if you learn anything from this, you'll learn, like, man, Robert's like obsessed with not drinking tap water. And also we have some, yeah, I think I can. Thank you. Also, we have some whales in the house. Okay, just like those of you who have lost your crypto in a boating accident, I'm not gonna point you out. But if you're interested in, we're gonna grab a little dinner tomorrow and maybe we can all see each other again. Sorry, dinner tonight and maybe we can all see each other again tomorrow afternoon and such. But we're gonna talk about some whale stuff. All right, I'm gonna take this down in about a second. If you can all share with each other, be very nice. Yeah, thank you too. All right, so any questions on Genius Whales? All right, cool. What was the question?
Investment amount, what are we doing?
Oh, well, the company is raising 8.5 million. And I mean, just come on up, talk to the company. Like, we want to find new directors. Like, let's have a combo started. All right, so we're doing the Genius strategy. Right, how many of you are familiar with the Bitcoin strategy? Okay, well, I'm going to show you what that like actually is and how that has worked out for people. Worked out incredibly well. If we would have all done a Bitcoin strategy over the last 4 years, 10 years, etc., big stuff. But the Genius strategy comes to answer what is better than Bitcoin. All right, what is better than Bitcoin? Our crypto people here, any idea what is better than Bitcoin? Well, besides Genius, let's stick away from that for a while. Of course it's Genius, no, but what would you think? Some people would say, Trump would probably say, like, the good old-fashioned American dollar and real estate is better than Bitcoin, right? Well, I've found something that people universally agree, because Bitcoin people will tell you, Bitcoin, nothing's better than Bitcoin. And I said, well, more Bitcoin. That's what's better than Bitcoin. All the Bitcoin people are like, yeah, all right, cool, more Bitcoin, yeah, clap. I don't have two hands right now. I'm doing like that, right? But so what's better than Bitcoin is more Bitcoin. And we call this 100% Genius. I don't think you can see it on there, but here's the Bitcoin strategy in a, let's see if I can do a little, nope, can't do a laser pointer. So the Bitcoin strategy in 4 years, on the top right, that is just a graph to show you that in 4 years, maybe a little bit more than 4 years, 4.5 years, 5 years, sorry, in 5 years, people who did the Bitcoin strategy, where you just, instead of holding everything in cash, you put some of it over to Bitcoin, it has done more than 10x price appreciation in 5 years. I mean, that's going to be better than owning a home financially, right? That's going to be better than a lot of other options. You see, Bitcoin and Genius and Ethereum, they solve problems that a lot of people don't understand, like, 'cause we don't always deal with it. They solve big problems. Have you ever heard the saying that if you can solve a problem for a rich person, they'll make you rich? I don't think that's the thing, actually, but it's something like that. People who have a lot of money, they have unique problems, and they'll pay a lot of money to solve them because they don't know the answer. And Bitcoin, Ethereum, Genius, it has the answer for people who do have unique problems. And they're desperate for a solution. Like, hey, how do I store my money without the bank freezing my assets because they're scared about what I do for business? So many businesses have had that problem. Pawn shops. Do we know what pawn shops are in Canada? Okay, I heard mostly yeses, but pawn shops, you can put up some physical item to get a loan, or you can buy some other people's items. Pawn shops. Google it. So pawn shops, they had a major problem. I think it was in the 80s or something, where they kept losing bank accounts. And the Federal Reserve of the US said, quit it. You have to bank them. Stop closing out their bank accounts. And then banks were like, okay, we just felt kind of sketchy about their business. So that sucks. But Bitcoin solves that problem. So the Bitcoin strategy on the bottom right, what that shows you is if you were doing the Bitcoin strategy for 10 years, just with Bitcoin, you would have done 400x on your money. Yeah, 400. So every $1,000 would have become $400,000. So with the Bitcoin strategy, it outperformed the S&P 500 within 4 years, is to just make there be more adoption for Bitcoin. We're going to bring in a lot of adoption. We're going to bring more people into Bitcoin by letting them trade Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin on the stock market. All right, sharing my screen. And would you all like to know how absolutely phenomenal that did? Well, here on the top right is a chart of how many people bought ETFs, how many people were interested in buying Bitcoin through an ETF, such as the individual all the way back there. And my sister bought an ETF, and I was like, she told me, she goes, hey, Robert, you've been talking about Bitcoin since my kids were like this tiny. I bought some Bitcoin, just want to let you know. And I thought, what, you bought Bitcoin? She said, yeah, she showed me the app, and I was like, oh, she bought an ETF. Cool. But here on the top right, like more than $1 trillion in 2024 went to ETFs. And just the week of December 15th, you can see that number there was more than $1.3 billion net inflows, meaning people wanted $1.3 billion of ETFs. Long story short, you see the bars that are going downwards? That's how many people didn't want the Bitcoin ETF. And all those bars going upwards wanted the Bitcoin ETF. So what you saw there, did people want the Bitcoin ETF? Yep. They were very much wanting that ETF. But what happened throughout 2024? Did Bitcoin's price go up or did Bitcoin's price go down? It went up, like majorly. So not only did a lot of people get the ETF, but also the price of Bitcoin had gone up quite a good chunk. So a lot of people were in profit on that from just ETFs. But the lesson here is what Grayscale learned was that adoption pays. I think we all get that, right? Adoption pays. But what they also learned was, dang, we need to do more ETFs. Like, we need to get some more of this money. Because they're a business. They just want more money. Let's see if I can rejoin this. Okay, thank you. Well, what they also learned was that they need to find more blue chip cryptocurrencies. So they made a Ethereum ETF because they said Ethereum, that makes sense. That's got to be a blue chip cryptocurrency. Heck yeah. I'm getting this back, by the way. Share screen. Okay. Awesome. Thank you all for your patience with the technical difficulties here. So they realized they need to find more blue chip cryptos. Well, the Genius Whales company, while it's small now, they're gonna, I believe very strongly, they're gonna want to buy everyone's shares with Genius Whales, because how else are they gonna get the Bitcoin that Genius Whales owns? How else are they gonna get more blue chip cryptos, right? How are they gonna get yield, right? Genius AI is the answer to these very rich people's money problems of how do you get yield without the risk of losing your collateral. So that's the Genius strategy. You got a blue chip crypto and you're using AI to drive yield. And here's what you can all do with that. You see, the thing about Genius AI that makes it interesting is that it's simultaneously backed by USD, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, not AI trading. Sometimes people think there's AI trading going on, but no. But here, okay. All right, Financial AI is the new standard here. It's the new strategy. It's the awesome thing. So here's the strategy. Genius Whales, the company strategy is to do the Genius strategy and put out a mobile app. We went over how 62% or 60% of all proceeds of the company are going towards buying Bitcoin and AI assets, Genius AI being primarily one of them, but we like to say it's Bitcoin with AI. And then the other 38% is working capital to make that 62% of the company's value grow higher. So eventually the company's underlying assets become equal to or more in value than the capital that came in. And this is how we look today. So if you're doing a Genius strategy, this is how you could be looking today. And if you are doing a Genius strategy, you should pay attention and account for the dollars that you've paid for Genius. Account for all those things so you can see a running total. And then if you have Genius on multiple chains, however you hold Genius, look at that total value, right? This way you can see, okay, here's how much money in, here's how much money out. And so this is how Genius Whales has performed. Less than a year of being a company. Still, the 62% is Bitcoin and AI, but because of the asset growth, that has grown 9%. The company hasn't done anything but hold those tokens and of course campaigns, the Genius airdrop campaign and other campaigns, and there's been 9% growth from that. So with this seed round, here's what we believe it's going to look like. Like assuming no appreciation of Genius tokens price or value, assuming no appreciation of Bitcoin's price, like Bitcoin not going up, like at all. I mean, we all know the prices aren't going to stay the same. They're going to go up, they're going to go down, whatever it is. But with just completing this seed round, we see that and other factors like $40,000 a month is being burnt on operations or being utilized for that. I like to say burnt though. After the seed round, about 94% of the company will be actually like backed. The stock, 94% of the stock will be backed by hard assets like Bitcoin, Bitcoin AI, AIs, like Genius-wise. And then we see that eventually overcoming that, where the underlying assets are much greater than the value put in, just like MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, the value they put in to get Bitcoin, is significantly higher. And now that every nation and its mother, grandmother, wants Bitcoin, we're in a situation where it might not be a good idea to sell any of our crypto assets because the world is starting to wake up and see that these are very valuable. The biggest entities with the biggest money problems are seeing, ooh, we can't afford to ignore this anymore. That includes, yes, Bitcoin, it includes Ethereum, it includes Genius AI. All right, well, a common question I get, if you all have any questions, I'd love to answer them. We'll take them over questions, and we'll close up with a way to show you all how the AI liquidity works. And it's pretty quick. I spent a lot of time researching this, but the first question I get is, why not just buy the Bitcoin ETF? All right, I've talked with, just for the last 15 years and more, I've invested in a lot of things. I have friends that have invested in a lot of things. I have a lot of friends that we talk about investments together. And, they all want to talk with me about Bitcoin back in the day, and they all want to talk with me about Genius AI now. Because they see like, man, you're really interested in this Genius AI. Like almost like as much as I was interested in Bitcoin. Because they saw how passionate I was about Bitcoin. They're like, dang, this dude's passionate about Bitcoin. It's like somebody's passionate about their baby, their child. So some people saw that and thought, there's got to be a reason. Let me buy some Bitcoin. And they were happy. But why not just buy the Bitcoin ETF? And I found that to be a really good question that people would say. Why not just buy the Bitcoin ETF? And there's some problems with the Bitcoin strategy that people don't see. And that is, when Bitcoin dips in price, so does your investment. There's no revenue to generate with Bitcoin. There's only asset appreciation and depreciation. Now, for those of you who are very technical savvy, yes, there are ways to generate income with your Bitcoin, but there's also problems with it. Anybody here, who's been into crypto for at least a year? See hands. All right, now keep your hands up for a second. Who here 2 years? Now, who here 3 years? Ooh, cool, 4 years. Dang, dropped like flies. 5 years. Yeah, hold it proud. 6 years. Dang, 7 years. Nice, I'm impressed. 8 years. 9. Yo, you're waiting to put your hand down on that one. 10? Oh wait, everybody's hands are already, okay, so then you all know that, and how many of you have held Bitcoin at some point? Okay. How many of you have like obsessively looked at the price of Bitcoin, like going up and going down? Yeah, I'm so guilty of that. So we all know then that when the price of Bitcoin dips, what's the first thing that we think? Yeah, shit. I should have sold that. Damn it. There you go. Yeah. And sometimes we think, well, I keep learning just to buy more, because you got to forget about that emotional thing. You got to remember, does it have a future? Yes, it has a future. Okay, relax. You just lost 25% of your value, but it has a future. Buy more. It's a hard thing to do. I think eventually people learn to do that. Well then, but what happens when the price of Bitcoin goes up tremendously? Okay, tempted to sell. Really? Yeah, that makes sense. Well, my thought is like, shit, I should have bought more. Dang it. All right. Any questions about that? Because those problems, the shit, I should have bought more. Sorry, I keep cussing. I need to cut that out. Just let me know. Well, all right, so the problem of I should buy more, I should have bought more, I should have sold it. It's really a problem that we can't predict the future. We can't predict the future, of course not, because everybody has free will and they can choose what they want to do, and we got no idea. We only have control over our own free will. So, so the problem is we don't know when the best time is to buy something. We don't know when the best time is to join a market with investing, right? We don't know if, should we get the IPO, like the initial public offering of a stock, should we buy it now? We just don't know that. We also don't know when markets are going to change. We don't know if we should have bought more because the price is about to go up and we didn't have enough time. And we don't know if we should have maybe taken a little bit of profit to do that little project we wanted to do. So would you believe that Genius AI solves that problem? Who said hell no? No, I'm kidding. What? Oh, sorry. Nobody said hell no. I was just saying that. I'm sorry, miss. What was your answer? I still can't hear. Oh, how? Dang. I think I just really wanted to hear hell no. So I can only hear no. So cool. I think you're going to enjoy this. All right. Well, we'll close off. Of course, if you have questions, write them down. We'll get into the questions. We'll go out there, we'll exchange emails and stuff, but I think you all want to understand how that works. And I think it's good to understand it. I think it's good for these materials to be here. And I think it's good to share these materials with others. This is the first Canva I've ever made, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I gotta hit this button. All right. Present. Full screen. This is an eagleon. So it's an eagle, a lion mixed. And here, are any of you familiar with phi? Because the golden ratio. Genius has unique math, but besides getting into that, if we want to know the how of Genius works, it has a lot to do with phi. And all phi is like how things grow in nature. So it's kind of like the math of the universe, or a constant used in the universe. But here's Genius. And what Genius does, excuse me, when the AI liquidity is launched, Genius will already be seeded with Bitcoin. So this AI liquidity thing, this AI market, the AI will have Bitcoin, USDC, or some other variation of it that's decentralized, and Ethereum. It'll have that available for people to burn their Genius and get that. I'm going to tell you the overall story. I know there's a lot of technicals from this, but Genius will continue to offer people yield and better yield if they want to back Genius's token with Bitcoin. Now, the thing that I found, that Dimitri Shades found, was that Genius AI always figures out how to make it worth it for you, if you have Bitcoin, to back Genius token's value with Bitcoin. It's kind of like a bid system, triangulates intent, I believe you would say. It says, it's like me telling all of you, like, hey, Bitcoin's worth $100,000, 110, whatever, and let's assume you all have one Bitcoin. All right, at least one Bitcoin. If I were to tell you, hey, I'll give you $900,000 or $90,000 for your Bitcoin, a lot of you would say no. And I would learn, dang, I gotta offer more. So say, hey, can I give you $98,000 for your Bitcoin? A lot of you would probably still say no. Well, how about 100? How about 115? How about 120? So Genius AI does this. It samples these numbers and it figures out, do people want this? Do they want that? So what I'm getting at is Genius gets you to back it with Bitcoin. It gets you to back Genius's value with Ethereum. Maybe you don't do it, but other people go, you know what, this is an interesting deal, and this is interesting how this works. Yeah, I'll do it. And other people come in and they put down US dollar. This is what we saw in the first 4 to 6 months that Genius AI was around. And the people the AI liquidity was around. It went by many names, the collateral vault, right, stuff like that. And all of us who saw this, we were just all like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the coolest thing in the world. Well, here's what happens. The Genius token that you have, right, it is simultaneously backed by all collaterals that are in the vault. All collaterals that are in the AI liquidity. And the AI behind the scenes is constantly rewarding those who pay attention to its offers. It's saying, hey man, I'm gonna give you a good deal here, I'm gonna give you more yield here, I'm gonna give you more Genius tokens. I just want you to back the value. So it's simultaneously pegged. And we haven't seen something like this before. Like, we understand stock markets. I mean, maybe we don't, but we understand that we can buy and sell. We understand that when we buy, the price goes up. Thank you. And we understand when we sell, the price goes down. And then when it comes to decentralized liquidity, in decentralized markets, we still understand, okay, we buy, the price goes up. We sell, the price goes down. But somehow, there's always liquidity. It never runs out of supply, which was the great invention behind it. But then now here's Genius, where when you buy, the price goes up. Well, actually, I would say when you buy, the price stabilizes. And when you sell, the price rises when it has to do with AI liquidity. So we haven't seen AI liquidity before, but one thing for sure is if the price of Bitcoin went down to $80,000, right? In these examples that I give you, let's just assume $100,000. Let's just assume that your Genius represents $100,000 of Bitcoin. It also represents $100,000 of USDC. It also represents $100,000 of Ethereum. So what happens if you guys holding Bitcoin wake up and Bitcoin is $80,000 tomorrow? What are you gonna think? Buy more? Yep. To be honest, I'm still gonna think to myself, shit, should have sold some. Well, with Genius, you have no idea what's gonna happen. So here, your Genius token, are you gonna take the Bitcoin that's now worth $80,000 for your Genius, or are you going to take the US dollar? If you need to sell it, which one are you going to choose? Yeah, the US dollar, right? I'm just making sure this makes sense here. You're going to choose the US dollar. And then people will have an opportunity. And then other people, if they back the Genius token, if they back it with Bitcoin, they automatically have access to $100,000 worth of stable tokens. Did you know that? They have to make a commitment of a number of days. That's what they're getting paid to do here. Likewise, when Bitcoin goes up, sometimes we think, oh crap, I was gonna buy Bitcoin. Why did I stall it? I'm sure there are people here who have heard of Bitcoin when it was less than $10,000 per Bitcoin, right? That sounded like a lot of yeses. And maybe and who really wanted to buy it but didn't? Maybe some? Yeah, it is hard to do, and you're like, I'll do it later. And then Bitcoin's like $110,000 today, and we're like, oh, sorry, I keep talking in US dollars. I also honor the Canadian dollars, and I want some. Those bills look nice. Like I don't even care about the US dollars, but those Canadian dollars look sexy. I'm just gonna say it. I also heard they don't rip. Yeah, all right, cool. Anybody wants some US dollars for your Canadian dollars, I'll gladly give it to you, because I just like the notes. But you see here, Genius AI, by simultaneously pegging things or backing value and giving people an incentive to back the token more over time, you're gonna choose, if you have to sell your Genius, you can sell it on the open market, but if you have to sell your Genius, you get the choice. Hey, your Genius is now worth $125,000 worth of Bitcoin, and it's also worth $100,000 of USDC. Which one are you going to sell it for? I think we all understand this. And what happens in bull markets is we just don't know who the bull market winner is going to be. I used to have an email list where I literally copied and pasted a bunch of emails for blind carbon copy to people, and I did this every February, where I would tell people, a little more than 24 people, who I thought the bull market winners were going to be, or the bear market winners. And I didn't do that this year. This is the first year I didn't do it in 10 years. And I got emails about it, hey, Robert. I was like, oh, snap. People paid attention to this? Some people would thank me. But what we run into in bull markets, bear markets, and if you got the PDF of the crypto bull market winners, please share it with your friends. I think it's good information. We don't know who's going to win in the bull market. 2022, 2021, Ethereum won like crazy. People are like, damn, why do we have Bitcoin again? It makes sense, Ethereum. But the point is, with Genius AI, you get to choose which collateral that you want. And Genius AI wants you to burn as much of your tokens as possible to get that collateral. It wants it so bad that when you burn your tokens for Ethereum, it says, oh, thanks for your tokens. The next person who burns just as many tokens as you did is going to get $152,000. And then somebody else comes along and burns those tokens. All right, next person's going to get 153. The AI liquidity wants to exhaust all of its tokens. It wants to exhaust all that collateral. It wants to get it out as soon as possible. And it's incentivizing you to do it.